Well, hello everybody and welcome to Chef's Baking Blog. Today I'm going to be making some sausage rolls. Leading up to Christmas, where sausage rolls are traditional, I thought I'd make them some in advance so that anybody else who wants to make them can try them out. I'm going to be using a flaky pastry. Very often these days it seems that people use puff pastry, though I think short crust is actually more traditional. And flaky is a sort of cross between puff and short crust basically. It's quite simple to make and has very few ingredients. And same with the sausage filling, that has very few ingredients, so I'll get straight onto those. For the pastry I have 110 grams of plain flour, 75 grams of unsalted butter, which I have put in the freezer for 30 to 45 minutes so that it's nice and cold. And I'm going to have about a tablespoon of water. Then for the sausage filling I have 225 grams of sausage meat. You want good quality sausage meat. This is 90% pork. 80 to 90% is best. Then I have half an onion and two let's say heaped tablespoons of sage, which I have blitzed in this little processor here, so it's all nice and chopped up. So to start off with, we take our butter. I put a pinch of salt in the flour. We'll just gently toss the very cold butter in the flour, and then I'm going to take a grater and I'm going to grate the flour, the butter, and I'm going to keep changing the edge that I'm grating, and it's grating quite nicely, but as you go you can toss it in the flour again. And then when it's almost done, you'll have a few little bits left over, which you can just break up and drop into the bowl. So I have nice long shreds of butter here. I'm just going to pull it all off the grater. And then you're going to mix this, but you don't use your hands very much at all in this recipe for the pastry. Take a little spatula or a knife and you just start to mix the butter in with the flour. Keep mixing until all the flour is absolutely coated. Oh, sorry, all the butter is absolutely coated with the flour. And I'm just going to, some of my strands might be a little bit too long. I don't want them. So I'm just going to break them a little bit, some of them. Right, and then what I'm going to do is just take a tablespoon of water. This is ice cold water, and sprinkle it into the bowl, and then I'm going to start stirring with my spatula until it all starts to come together. And then I'm going to get my hand in and pull it together. And if it doesn't seem to come together, then you just add a little bit more water. So I've now added about 2 tablespoons of water. And then with your hand you squeeze it, and it starts to come together. And it should come away and leave your bowl quite clean. I'll just pull the excess off my fingers. And with that, the butter is still quite visible. It's not been mixed in like short crust so that it's all broken down. And then I'm going to put that pastry into a plastic bag, which I have here, and I'm going to put it in the fridge for 30 minutes. So I'll be back with you in a few minutes, and we'll do the sausage meat while we're chilling our pastry. Right, so here's our 225 grams of sausage meat, and into that I'm going to add the half of onion and the 2 tablespoons of sage, which I have blitzed so they're very small. We don't want big chunks of onion in the sausage rolls. And then with my hands I'm just going to mix those together. Until the sage and the onion is all mixed in, like that. And having done that, I'm going to take a little bit of flour and just sprinkle it over. And I'm going to roll the sausage meat out into about 12 inches, 30 centimetre sausages. I'm going to do 2 of those, So I need to cut this in half. Make them about the same size. And then gently work this into a sausage. So, having rolled our sausages out to about 30 centimetres, I'm going to set them to one side like that until our pastry is chilled enough. Then I'll come back and we'll... Okay, so I've chilled my pastry and I have the oven preheating at 220 Celsius, 200 Celsius with a fan. That's 430 Fahrenheit. And I have taken 2 baking trays and lined them with parchment paper. I think 1 might be enough, but I'm going to use 2 just to be sure. So what we need to do is to roll our pastry out so that it's in an oblong of about 30 centimetres by 20 centimetres, 12 inches by 8 inches. And you want the 12 inches to be sort of parallel so that you can roll it up, because you'll cut it in half and roll the 8 inches. So just roll it out. And keep pushing the sides in together again, so that you're getting your oblong. I'm going to cut it along the centre. And what I've done is I've prepared an egg that I'm going to need. I'll get a pastry brush. And then what we have to do is to take one of our sausages, and I've decided the easiest way is to roll it onto there, and then to just put it on like that. And I'm going to straighten this edge just a little bit like that, and with the egg wash I'm just going to brush down like that. I'm going to do both sides. And then I'm going to gently lift the pastry up and roll it over like that. And then with each of our rolls, I'm just going to cut off the excess pastry from the ends. Like that. And I'm going to cut each of these into 6. Now, I think you could chill these before you cut them. But I'm going to cut them like that, and then I'm going to reshape them as necessary. I'm going to put them onto a baking tray. So, the next thing to do is to take some scissors and just snip 3 times into each sausage roll, like that. And then with your egg wash, brush all over them. And then you'll put them into the preheated oven and bake them for 20 to 25 minutes until they're a nice golden brown. And the sausage meat will be cooked inside. You should have a nice flaky pastry. So I'll do the other ones and I'll put them in the oven, and I'll be back with you in about 30 minutes to see what they look like. Okay, so I'm back with you now, and I've taken our sausage rolls out of the oven. I baked mine for 25 minutes. And this is what they look like. Nice and crisp underneath and on top, as you can see. I'm going to take a bite of one. Still very hot inside because they've only been out of the oven a couple of minutes. That really does taste so good, it's unbelievable. You get the onion and the sage and the sausage meat. And these are a perfect size for a little treat at Christmas. Just 2 or 3 bites and you will have eaten them. Very, very good. Now you can actually, once you've cooked these, if you've used fresh sausage meat, that's not frozen sausage meat, fresh, once you've cooked them, you can freeze them, and having frozen them, when you want to eat them, you just take them out of the freezer, allow them to defrost, and then put them in the oven and reheat them, and they'll be perfect. So you can actually make these well in advance of Christmas Day or Boxing Day or whenever, and just take them out, defrost them and reheat them as necessary. So that's it for today. I hope you've enjoyed this recipe. I do hope you give it a go. If you have enjoyed it, please give me the thumbs up below the video and click to subscribe to my YouTube channel. And also there will be an eye in the top right hand corner of the screen where you can click to go to the recipe. And this is a recipe that I got from Delia online, about Delia Smith basically, and it's worked out very well. I'll also put a link to the recipe below the video so that you can click on that and get to it. And I will then be back with you in the very near future with another recipe. So until then, happy baking.